No, добрый день, студенты мои, как дела у вас? This is your wonderful teacher, Jonathan, and I already have all of the homework done and set up, and I'm just going to go ahead and go through each one. If you like this format better, let me know in the comments below, or of course, send me an email. And let's get things going. All right, number one. Good morning. Do you have a lemon? I know it's a weird phrase. Let's see how it translates. Доброе утро. У тебя or у вас есть лимон? Depending on which whether you want to be formal or informal. Тебя is informal, vas is formal. Okay, number two. I would like cheese. Thank you very much. So again, I in English doesn't have a gender associated to it. So when we translate it into Russian, we need to remember which gender we are using. So in my case, since I'm obviously a guy, I would use я хотел бы сыр. But if I were a girl, I would say я хотела бы сыр. Okay, so that distinction is very important. And again, other languages like Spanish have that as well. So just keep that in mind. Now the answer, or now thank you very much, is спасибо большое or спасибо огромное. So depending on which one you want to use, there's no big difference really. Огромное to me has a feeling of like really strong thank you, like you're just super excited and wanting to thank somebody. Спасибо большое is probably a little better. And again, of course, спасибо Господь would also work. But there's not really such a thing as like, I mean, I guess you could say большое спасибо Господь if you really wanted to. Anyway, moving on. Number three. What would you like to eat? Что ты хотел бы есть or что вы хотели бы есть? And again, the ты could be referring to a guy or a girl, so I put both of them there. Что ты хотел бы or что ты хотела бы есть. Okay. And again, if it's ve, it doesn't matter either way. And that's one of the reasons that I might argue that you would use ve instead. The other is that it's more polite. So, number four. I know this is a strange scenario. I wrote it up really fast. Just kind of came to mind. You're a barista at a coffee shop and you just handed a coffee to your customer. She says, thank you. How do you reply? Translation, or the answer is na zdоровье. Now again, because it's related to food, you would use this one. And as I was looking and doing some research later, I found out that in fact, which makes perfect sense, it's actually not necessarily because it's related to food, but because it's related to health. So if someone does something for you, that could benefit your health in some way, whatever it might be, you would use na zdоровье as the answer to that. To me, that means that when you're talking about food, it makes sense. But again, пожалуйста would also work here because пожалуйста is actually more typical, a more typical response for you're welcome. So either one of those is good for number four. However, in number five, you're at the supermarket and you just finished paying. You thank the cashier for being so bubbly and cheerful. He replies, пожалуйста. He's not going to reply на здоровье. I mean, it's somewhat related to health, I guess. But if we're starting to go to the idea that everything can mean anything if you provide enough justification for it, which I'm all for because I'm an English major, but that's not what we're looking at here. In this case, it won't work because this specific act that you're thanking the cashier for is not immediately related to health or food. Man, I can't talk right now. That being said, I would just use пожалуйста here. Okay, number six. Please pass me the sugar. Пожалуйста, подай мне сахар, or подайте мне сахар. And actually, I just realized this is incorrect. And that's not in Russian. And that's Russian. Okay, so this is, we haven't talked about this one yet. We'll get there. That being said, you can read that little bonus for yourself. We're not going to go over the genitive case until a little bit later. We might barely briefly touch on it this lesson, but this other case I'm not even going to talk about yet because it's not a big deal. Okay, so number 7. Доброе утро. Я хотел бы выпить кофе. And again, I know it wasn't a vocab word, but I'm pretty sure it's kind of obvious what it means. So translation, good morning. I would like a coffee, or would like coffee, you could actually say. And I think it's to drink coffee as I was reading this. And now again, chatzilba is masculine. So you need to make sure you use that information. And then when you're translating to the other, from Russian to English or from English to Russian, you need to keep those genders in mind. Gender is important. Number 8. Здравствуйте, я голодна, which is I'm hungry. Кто может очистить и порезать огурцы и апельсины? Translation, hello, I am hungry. Who can or who is able to peel and cut cucumbers and oranges? And again, gender is important. Я голодна, which means I'm hungry. I use the ge. With this one, I'm very strong with ge because холодный means cold. And if I say я голодный, that actually doesn't mean I'm cold. It still means I'm hungry. But people get it confused. Мне холодно is actually how you say I'm cold. Мне холодно. So, but either way, with this one, I stress the ge because it means a completely different thing if you don't. So, я голодный means I'm hungry. Мне холодно is I'm cold. Or if you're a girl, я голодна. So, anyway, let's move on. Number 9. У нас много фрутки. У кого есть овощи? We have a lot or much fruit. Много could also mean many, but it all depends on what you're talking about. So if I said, у нас много бумаги, we have many papers. Right? Anyway. And who has vegetables? And then finally, number 10. Мы все уже наелись. Ну что дальше хотите делать? And I gave you guys some hints on some of those words. I didn't tell you what уже meant, so I apologize. Уже means already. So here we go. We have all already eaten, or we are all already full. So what do you guys want to do next? I should actually make sure to put that in there. And I said что хотите. So this is, I think I'm just really tired, guys. I'm sorry about that. And I remember I purposely wanted to do the you guys here. So when I made this question. Anyway. All right. There's the video. If you guys have any questions, again, comment below. Hit me up on my email. That wonderful, space age letter deal. All right.